Hello, gorgeous soul friends. Welcome to my channel, Hannah DeVaux. Thank you so much for tuning in and for allowing me into your wondrous experience today. So this is your pick a card reading. What skills and talents and gifts do you have that will bring you success? You can pick between groups 1, 2, and 3. We have this quartz cluster here, this amethyst geode, and then this lovely citrine geode. I'll go ahead and switch to a top-down view for a couple seconds. Pick whichever card pile resonates with you, and then you can click the timestamp below and it'll take you directly to your reading. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, group 1, this is your set of cards. Let's see what you have here. The 9 of Swords, the 4 of Wands, the Hermit, the Star, the Ace of Cups, time for healing, and growth. So group 1, I'm getting the energy of something being overlooked. Like there's a skill, talent, a gift that you possess, especially with the Star card. And I think you've possessed it since you were a child. Like this is something that you're naturally good at. You've always been really good at it. And you may have had like a grandmother or a grandfather who was also really good at whatever this is. And I think that you kind of inherited that from them. Like you may have even bonded with this particular grandparent or this particular older figure. There was somebody older than you, maybe it's a mentor, or just somebody around who's a bit older that has this same skill or this same talent. And I think that you were able to kind of bond with this person like over whatever this is. But I feel like there's a lot of doubt and uncertainty surrounding this particular skill with the 9 of Swords. It's kind of like you may think that you're not as good as you actually are, or you may be kind of like afraid to show other people that you have this skill or that you have this talent. For some of you, it could be building, like you could be into like building homes, I'm seeing like architecture, interior design. Like somebody has a really good eye for what looks good in a house or what looks good in a building. So if you're kind of struggling and trying to find your footing with something and trying to find like where you can be successful, I would say for some of you, interior design is definitely something you want to look into. I'm also hearing like landscaping, specifically landscaping, gardening too, but like landscaping in particular, because it has to do with the look of a house or like the architecture of a building. The way that the outside looks or the way that the outdoor area looks. Maybe it's parks. Maybe somebody's like really good at like landscaping outdoor areas or something like that. You might find success in doing like construction of parks or construction of houses or doing like the landscaping for buildings, you know, commercial buildings. It just feels like there's this energy of like landscaping, specifically because nature is involved. Like some of you are very connected to nature, like you may be really into like hiking or camping, or something like that. I'm also seeing somebody who has a skill and a talent around like animals and pets, like you connect really, really strongly to animals. Maybe even like farm animals. Like you might find yourself being successful with like agriculture, farming, veterinary care, but specifically veterinary care that has to do with like farm animals. Like somebody might be a veterinarian or might want to go into veterinary care, but like for livestock. Because I'm getting an energy around livestock. So you might be involved in agriculture and you might be into like farming and stuff like that, or that might be a skill that you have that you could find a lot of success with. And like I said, there may have been like a grandfather or somebody quite older than you, a mentor who also possessed this gift or this skill, or maybe they had a farm, or you know, they kind of showed you the ropes is what I'm seeing. Like there could have been somebody who showed you the ropes with this skill and they feel like they're a lot older. They feel like a grandparent or something like that. But I feel like there's a lot of anxiety surrounding a skill that you have. Like you're hesitant to invest time and effort into this with the Ace of Cups, because I think that there's still a lot of like insecurity surrounding this. Like I said, some of you may feel like you're not as good as others say you are or something like that. You might think that like, you know, you're not as talented in this area, but I mean, guys, you have the Star card. So whatever this is, like, you really shine with it. And I think you shine more than you realize, and that's why the Nine of Swords is here. Like, some of you may even feel like, oh, this skill doesn't mean anything, like it's not profitable. Like, that could also be the Nine of Swords energy. It's like, you know, feeling like something is not profitable, feeling like you kind of got the shit end of the stick. You're like, oh my God, like, you know, of course I would be good at something that's useless. You know what I mean? Or something like that. Like, there's an energy of feeling like your skill is like not profitable or useless, or it's just like not gonna find you success in any area. But I think you need to go in and heal that, because honestly, I think that's coming from a place of insecurity and not reality. With the time for healing, like, I think if you actually invested time and energy into honing this skill and like finding success with it, I think you would, because you have the Star and growth. But you have to be willing to invest the effort into growing, right? Because some of you are still in this Nine of Swords where you're kind of just sitting here, you know, feeling like you can't really do anything with this, or not really taking the effort, you know, not really taking the time or the effort. You've already kind of like made that decision in your mind. You're like, oh, it wouldn't work. Oh, it wouldn't work. And you've kind of given yourself like an ultimatum without really trying. Does that make sense? Without investing any effort. You've given up before you could even get started. Like, that's kind of what this feels like. With the Nine of Swords coming before the growth card, it feels like some of you have given up on whatever this is, whatever your skills are and talents are, before you could even get started, or before you could even see growth. Maybe some of you tried to start like an at-home business or something around this skill. It could also be like microneedling. I'm also seeing somebody who's into microneedling. You may also be into like hair extensions. I'm seeing like the sew-in extensions specifically. There's an energy around needles. Like, somebody might be involved in like beauty. Like, I'm thinking like injections, like lip injections, fillers, like that kind of vibe. Or you might do like microneedling, or you might do like hair extensions or something of that nature. I'm also seeing acupuncture, like somebody who does acupuncture. You may have been doing this service-based business like out of your home, or you may currently be doing it out of your home. And I see you being the solo occupant, the solo service provider in this particular field. So if you have tried to start a business around your particular skill, I feel like you should just be patient with yourself, because some of you are still so new to this. Like, you may be a veteran when it comes to like microneedling. You may be a veteran when it comes to farming. You may be a veteran when it comes to the skill itself. But when it comes to like having a business around this skill, when it comes to finding success and profiting and capitalizing on this skill, that's where I think some of you are still a little naive and still maybe need some growth and learning. But you have the Ace of Cups here, so I think ultimately, like, this is something that makes you very happy. Like, there is a skill here that you have, Group 1. I mean, there's a reason you were drawn to this video. You know what I mean? Like, there's definitely a reason you clicked on this video, because there is something here that you can capitalize off of. There's something here that is very profitable, but you're standing in your own way. And it's like, some of you already know the skill with the Star card. Like, you don't need me to tell you what skills you have. Like, you already know where you'll find success. Like I said, you're a veteran with whatever this is. Like, you may have been doing it for years. This might even be like an inheritance thing. Like, you may have inherited this skill from like your parents and then your grandparents. You know what I mean? Like, I'm seeing somebody whose mom was like into beauty, or whose mom was into like, maybe your mom had like a salon, or maybe your mom was the type that had clients over to like do their hair or do their makeup or something like that. And you were like a child and you kind of like watched your mom do this. Like, I'm even seeing a specific scenario where there's somebody who's like a hairstylist, or somebody who's like involved in beauty, but they do this service out of their house. Like, you might do nails, or you might do hair, and you might do it out of your house. And I'm seeing somebody who has like a baby that's like in a sling on their body. Like, there's a mama who has like a baby, and they're cutting hair, or they're like doing somebody's makeup, or they're doing somebody's nails while they have this baby like slung to them, like held to their body on like a sling. That's what I'm visualizing. So you might have had a mother who was like you know, really into beauty, and like you kind of grew up seeing her do all of this stuff and it kind of got you into it or something like that. Maybe you yourself have a child and you're trying to get your child into whatever it is that you're doing. But I do see an energy of like you kind of having a lot of experience with something because there's a family history affiliated with whatever this particular skill is. So you already know what it is with the star card. Like I said, some of you don't really need me to tell you where your skills lie because you're already very well aware with the star card. It's just getting over that hump, that fear, right? That of, you know, are people gonna accept what I'm doing? Are people going to like what I'm doing? Are people going to pay for what I'm doing? Well, yes, with the Ace of Cups and the star, like yes, because I feel like some of you are doing something that's actually really in demand. Like some of you don't recognize like how, like I said, you're the only thing that's standing in your own way. You've given up before you could even try, because some of you have kind of told yourselves like, oh, nobody will pay for this. You know, nobody will pay me for this service. Like nobody wants to pay money for this. Like I said, somebody's stuck in that mindset of like, oh, I got a useless skill. Like, of course I would be good at something that's useless, but you got to get over that. Like if this is you, like genuinely let go of that ideology, because you are the only thing that's holding yourself back. I'm telling you, that mentality and that ideology of feeling like there's a skill that's useless, or feeling like you yourself are useless, or that you can't profit with something, or feeling like you can't do something because nobody will buy it. I think you need to go in and heal that, because that's not the skill, baby. That's you. Like that's you that needs healing, not the skill. Like your skill is fine. It's very profitable and it's marketable, but it can't be marketed until you have the confidence to go out and put yourself out there. So some of you, the skill that needs to be worked on is your confidence, right? Because that's a skill. Confidence is very much a skill and a gift. It's not something that, you know, people just kind of, I mean, there's definitely some people who confidence comes more naturally to them, like other skills, but I think confidence is the biggest thing that needs to be consciously built up here in order for you to find success and growth. Because some of you already have growth, like you're already kind of seeing growth maybe in your business, or you're seeing growth in a career path with this particular skill. Like some of you may work for a company where you're able to kind of like engage in this skill. But even if you work for a company, I see you primarily working alone. Like there's an energy of like you doing something on your own, or you might be the only one in this company qualified to do this because the star is here. So this feels like somebody who is the only person who's doing this particular skill or doing this field of work in a town or in a city or in the company. Like you might be the only lash tech in your town. You know what I mean? And you may not even know. Like some of you are still here in this Nine of Swords energy and you're saying like, oh, nobody will pay for this. Nobody will buy this. Nobody will, I can't capitalize off this skill. Like it's useless, da, 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 da. But you have no idea. Like you have the one thing that your city needs. You have the one thing that your town needs, the one thing that your company needs. And instead of going after it and taking the risk, you kind of hold yourself back. So there is this energy of really needing to take the skill that you already know you have, because like I said, some of you are very aware of what skills you possess. And I think you need to break down the constructs that you've built around these skills, whether it's from what society has told you or what your parents have told you or what you've told yourself. There needs to be this breakdown so that you can truly thrive. Because I'm telling you guys, like some of you are on the brink of success with something here. Ace of Cups, the Star, guys, the Four of Wands, growth, like these are beautiful cards. Beautiful cards. Like it's kind of like you're at the starting line, but you haven't exactly crossed yet. Like you're just kind of waiting at the starting line. Because the only really negative, I guess you could say negative, because these cards technically have no negative or positive. They just are. The only like perceived negative card in this spread is the Nine of Swords. And this is all about anxiety and fear. And kind of like some of you might even be using your age as like a thing. Like I said, all of these excuses that you're making, it's all you. Like it's all just you. Like it's not like the actual reasons you're giving yourself are valid, or not valid, but they're not true. Like I'm seeing somebody who's specifically saying like, oh, I can't do this because I'm too old. Like I'm too old to start a business. I'm too old to start from scratch with the Hermit. It's like somebody saying like, oh, I could have done that back when I was in my 20s or back when I was in my teens. I wish I would have started back when I was in my 30s or whatever, right? Like it's never too late, group one. It's never too late to start. Like I said, these excuses that you're giving yourself are all you. Like it's all just you. You're the only thing that's standing in your own way by the limitations that you're putting on yourself. So some of you, you're very much skilled with something. The Star card, guys, the Star and the Hermit together, like this is somebody who's an expert, guys. Like I'm telling you, this is someone who is an expert because they have grown up on this particular skill. Like they are like, listen, I know this like the back of my hand because my mama, my grandma, and my great-great-grandma did it too. So it's that vibe. Like you know something like the back of your hand because you had family members who partaked in this skill, or you had like, you know, a close-knit group of people around you who were very skilled with this and you learned from the best of the best. Like some of you learned from the best of the best because you were born from the best of the best. This is running through your blood. This is running through your veins, this skill. I'm getting chills right now, guys. Like this is amazing. But some of you really you don't see it. I mean, you do, like, you know that, you know, you have some great mentors or great people before you who've taught you this skill or who've kind of helped you along the way. But you got to take credit too. You know, you got to take credit for your own growth because ultimately, like, yes, this skill is running through your veins and this is a part of you and this is something, you know, you were born into for some of you, but that doesn't make it any less special. Does that make sense? Like, I'm trying to kind of figure out how to word this. Like, it doesn't make it any less I'm trying to think of how I can word this because I'm stuck here 1 second. Because I'm seeing somebody who feels like because they were born into something that they, you know, they don't deserve the skill, or that I don't know, it's kind of a funky energy. It's like somebody who feels like, oh, well, my mom was good at that. So like, it's not really me, it's my mom. Like, you know what I mean? Or it's, you know, it is you. That's the thing. Like, it is you. Like, you're giving other people credit when you deserve the credit. Like, some of you really need to like work on your confidence because that's the skill that needs to be boosted here. You got the skill, like whatever it is that you're doing, group one, like you're good at it. You're really fucking good at it. You just need to be more confident in the fact that you're good at this. And once you do that, I promise you, you'll see growth because look what it comes after: a time for healing. So once you go in and heal all of these confidence issues that you're having, you're gonna see so much growth with this particular skill. And I'm talking like more growth than you've ever seen in your entire life. But that is what I'm seeing here, group one. If you'd like to book a personal reading, go ahead and click the link down below in the description box. It'll take you to my website and you can book there. Feel free to let me know down in the comment box below how this reading resonated with you and what group you were. Take care and have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye-bye. All right, group two, this is your set of cards. Let's see what you have here. The Princess of Cups, the Five of Pentacles, the Ten of Cups, the Five of Swords, the Ten of Cups again. Time to give rather than take, and friendship. So group two, I'm seeing where your particular skill surrounds being a caregiver, specifically around children, childcare, education. I'm seeing somebody who's like a teacher or somebody who would make a great teacher, especially in the realms of early child development and like preschool. Like you may find yourself working really well with kindergartners. Well, there's actually two groups of people here. There's a group of people who would work really well with like small children, and then there's another group of people who would work really well with teenagers. So I know that those are like two drastically different groups, but you know, whatever resonates with you is your message. And some of you may even find, you know, like you may have previously found that you didn't care for children. You're like, oh, I think children are annoying, or I think they're weird and they make me uncomfortable and whatnot, because that Five of Pentacles is here. But you may actually find that when you start working with them, you love them and you're like, holy shit, like I never saw this side to kids, you know, like they're so interesting and unique. and all of this stuff. Like I'm seeing somebody who becomes fascinated by children or fascinated by the way that their minds work and stuff like that. So you may find yourself going into like pediatrics, or you may find yourself being successful in the realms of like childcare and child development specifically. But there is an energy of being a caregiver, like being there for somebody. You have this new moon in Virgo card here, and Virgo is all about service, right? It's all about being there for people and being of service. So some of you may find that you do well in like therapy, or like you do well as like a therapist or somebody who, even just a good friend, like being a friend to somebody, like you're a really, really, really good friend. Even to people who, you know, don't deserve it all the time with the Five of Swords, to be completely real. I think that, you know, you tend to overgive. That's why this Five of Pentacles is here too, because I think some of you need to learn how to maybe not give so much, because I think you tend to drain yourself in order to please other people. But I do see an energy around being caring. Like there's just this big skill that you have, and that's why people come to you, and that's why people are drawn to your energy with this Princess of Cups, because you're so willing. You know what I mean? And the unfortunate thing about that is people who see this energy will take advantage. You know, some people are very much selfish, and they see people who are like this and they kind of target people like this. So I would say a skill that you could work on is maybe your discernment, and discerning whether somebody is worthy or going to give back, because everything is a give and take, right? That's the law of duality, and just one of the laws of our universe is everything has a push and pull. So if somebody's not giving back and not investing back into you, or there's not an experience here that's investing back into you, because this doesn't even have to be a person. This could just be a job, or it could be an investment of time into something that is not giving you fulfillment, right? Because that's why the Ten of Cups is here twice. Like some of you you're very much involved in your skill. Like you might be a teacher, you might be a therapist, you might be a nurse, you know, you might be a doctor, you might do something in the realm of like caring for somebody else, but you don't feel fulfilled. And you're looking for that fulfillment. That's why the Five of Pentacles with the Ten of Cups is present, because you're not finding that fulfillment with whatever it is that you're currently doing. So you already have the skill down for some of you, but you're just not really seeing success, especially, and it could even be financial success with the Five of Pentacles. Like you might be working for a job that's not paying you enough. Like I said, there's lack of receiving that I'm picking up here. There's a lot of giving, a whole lot of giving, but there's a lack of receiving. So maybe a skill that you need to work on, a skill that you have within you where you'll find success, is allowing yourself to receive. You know, working on allowing yourself to receive, because I think in that way you're able to give more, right? Because you can't pour from an empty cup. So some of you are so drained, you know what I mean? And you may even find yourself being kind of bitter and like kind of resentful, not wanting to be so much of a caregiver. Like you might be questioning this skill, and you're kind of like, well, is this really what I want to do? Like, I really don't want to give a shit about people anymore. Like, why am I doing this? I always just get hurt and all of this stuff, right? But I think that once you find an outlet to kind of invest this skill into that will give you something back, you'll find that, sorry, I lost my words for a second. You'll basically find more fulfillment with that. Like once you find something that's giving back to you, you'll realize that like, okay, I am meant to be a caregiver. Like this is definitely for me. Because some of you know, like you already know that you're a caregiver, but you might be questioning it. You might be questioning that skill. You know what I mean? Because you've been burnt so many times with that Five of Swords. You know, there's of course always got to be people who have ulterior motives. But like I said, that's where I think some of you may want to invest some time in building up your discernment skill. Because some of you really lack discernment, if I'm being quite honest with you. And it's not, I'm not trying to like insult you or anything like that, but you just, you try to see the good in everybody, and unfortunately people take advantage of that. And it's shitty, trust me. Like I'm a caregiver too. So I understand, but one thing that I've personally had to learn over time is reading people and reading whether people's intentions are pure or not, or even a company. Like, you know, this doesn't even have to be a person. This could be a company that you're working for, that sees that you're willing to go the extra mile, right? Maybe some of you are kind of new in the workforce with the Princess of Cups. Like, you may not have a lot of experience in this particular field. Like, you may have only been working in this job for like maybe the past 5 to 10 months or something like that. And they kind of take advantage of the fact that you're new or something like that. Or like, I'm just seeing somebody getting taken advantage of. And it's making them question their good nature. It's making them question their caring nature. But don't let this situation make you bitter, group 2. Like, really take pride in that is kind of what I'm trying to say. Like, take pride in the fact that you can give, and that you know, give even when, you know, others would be selfish. I also feel like, you know, even if you find yourself being, you know, not so much of a caregiver, like in the realms of profiting financially, like you may not want to be a nurse, you may not want to be a doctor, you may not want to, you know, work with children or whatever. You might be a caregiver in the sense that you help people with their finances, with that 5 of Pentacles. Like, you might be like a real estate agent or something like that with the 10 of Cups. Like, you might do really well in real estate, or do really well in an area where you're helping people manage their finances. Like, you might help people build their credit or something like that. Because I'm seeing somebody who takes care of people's finances, or like is a caregiver in the financial realms. Like, once again, you may help people with their taxes or with their credit. You may help people buy homes. Like, and some of you don't even realize, like, especially if you work in finance and you do something in the realms of finance, some of you don't even realize like how much you help people. Like, you don't realize like how much your work impacts people, or how much your work would impact people. Like, some of you may have an idea. You might be like, oh, I really want to go into real estate, or like, oh, I really want to go into finance, and I really want to go into helping people build their credit. That's kind of specifically what I'm seeing, is like helping people build their credit so that they can buy a house, or assisting people with making big purchases. Specifically houses, because I keep hearing real estate. So this is a big moment in people's lives. You know what I mean? Some of you don't recognize that. Like, you don't recognize the fact that you're helping people make big decisions with their lives and make big jumps and big changes with their lives. You don't recognize how impactful your energy is. So I think some of you need to kind of like take a moment to reflect and just, you know, see how much you've helped people. Especially, like I said, if you're in the realms of finance or you do something involving finance, I think that you help people honestly more than anybody in this reading. Let's just be real. That's just what I'm picking up. Like, there's somebody here who helps people like get out of really shitty financial situations. You might even be somebody like that works in CPS or something like that. And you might help kids in like abusive homes, or you may help women, or like, because I'm specifically seeing this woman crying here. And especially with the Princess of Cups. Of course, you know, we recognize that men get abused too, but I'm specifically seeing women in the cards, so don't come for me in the comments. I'm seeing somebody who like works at either like a battered women's home, or works for like CPS or something like that. You basically just help people who are in poverty, or people who get abused, get out of their abusive situations, get out of their abusive homes or something of that nature. Like, there's an energy, like I said, of service, helping people get out of really bad situations. And this might not even be your occupation. You know what I mean? You might just be a really good friend, and you might have somebody around you who is in a really shitty situation at home, and maybe you're opening up your home to them. You know, you're like, listen, I don't have a lot to offer, but I can offer what I have. Like that kind of energy with the 5 of Pentacles. Like, some of you, even when you have very little to offer, and I'm saying this at 10:10 on the clock, even when you have very little to offer, you still offer up what you have. So there's an energy of being a caregiver that you'll find success in. Even if you're, like I said, if you're not already doing this as an occupation, If you're not providing somebody or something with care and nurturing something, you will find a lot of success in this. But you have to value yourself first. Five of Pentacles is present. So this is telling me that you could easily, if this is not your occupation and you're looking to go down a path of caregiving, maybe you help the elderly or something like that. But I'm seeing the energy of like somebody who wants to go down the path of healthcare, childcare, caregiving, CPS, financial assistance, real estate. There's an energy of needing to make sure that you're going to be receiving proper compensation. Like if you haven't already pursued a career path and you're looking to pursue a career path in caregiving and you kind of had an intuitive feeling that this is for you and these messages are really resonating with you, I would say you like build your discernment now before you start applying for jobs. Because I'm telling you guys, like there are some jobs out there that, you know, you might apply to a company that may say that they have more money than they do. You know what I mean? They may tell you like, oh yeah, we're the best company in the world. We're the leading company in the world for X, Y, and Z. But they're actually broke or something like that. You know what I mean? There may be like companies or there may be like certain situations that try to build themselves up to be a lot bigger than they actually are. And you'll end up getting disappointed. So like I said, use your discernment, guys. Like use your discernment, especially if you're like a caregiver and you're looking for some kind of healthcare, financial care, childcare type of job. But there is a skill surrounding caregiving. Like you're very much a good caregiver. And some of you, like it may just even be like you're a great friend to people. You know, there's a lot of people here who, I mean, some of you, you have so many friends, like you have a lot of people around you who just love you, and that's because you're always there for them. I'm seeing somebody who's like a midwife or something of that nature. But there is just this vibe of caregiving. Like that's the biggest skill that I'm picking up from you guys. Like obviously, you know, you have an array of other skills, but I think if you want to find success and you want to profit and you want to capitalize off of a skill that you have, this is going to be the best one. Caregiving or something involving nurturing and providing sustenance to either people or, you know, maybe it's a company, that's where you're going to find success. You know, being able to help others, that's where you're going to find success because you very much like to help people. You're very much a service-based person, and you're going to find a lot of success in this field. You may even want to do a service-based business. Like if you're looking to go into business, you know, you might want to do like a service-based business out of your home. Because some of you were saying like, oh, I want to do, you know, maybe you want to get into, I don't know, all kinds of things. I'm seeing somebody who wants to get into like being an esthetician or something like that. You might feel like you don't have the money to like have a studio, or you might like, there's somebody who feels like they don't have enough money to start a business with something, but baby, you can start in your home. That's why the 10 of Cups is here twice. I feel like the Spirit's already tried to tell you, like, listen, like you have everything you need right here. It may not be much, but that's better than nothing, right? Because the 5 of Pentacles doesn't have much, but with the 10 of Cups being here twice, like you still have something. You still have something. So it's just best to use what you have. Be resourceful during this time. If you want to build a skill and you really want to focus on a skill that, you know, you can improve on, I would say your resourcefulness and your ability to use what you have. That's going to be the biggest thing that's going to help you find success with this particular nurturing and caring nature that you embody. But that is what I'm seeing here, group 2. If you'd like to book a personal reading, go ahead and click the link down below in the description box. It'll take you to my website and you can book there. If you also want to let me know how this reading resonated with you in the comment box below, let me know what group you are and, you know, any comments that you have about this reading. I'd love to hear them. Take care and have a beautiful rest of your day, group 2. Bye-bye. All right, group 3, this is your set of cards. Let's see what you have here. The 4 of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, the Knight of Wands, the Page of Cups, the Seven of Coins. Expect powerful change and love. So group 3, I almost kind of get the impression that someone in this reading is like the jack of all trades. You have quite a bit of skills, with a lot of different things. I feel like, of course, there's one particular skill that you thrive at in relation to the rest, or there's a couple of skills that you thrive in relation to the rest, but I honestly think that you're pretty damn skilled in a lot of things. Especially with that Knight of Wands, it's like this is somebody who is a do-it-all kind of machine. Like you do everything. You know, you sing, you dance, you act. You might do all three things. Like you might be involved in like Broadway or something like that, or you might be involved in like, I don't know, I'm seeing somebody who's like a performer. This is the energy of a performer. That's what I'm seeing here. This is somebody who's talented. They're funny, they're charismatic, you know, especially with the Knight of Wands and the Page of Cups. They're real friendly, they're real bubbly. I'm getting the energy of like a Pisces or like a Sagittarius, maybe a Leo. I'm also picking up a Leo. So you may have these placements in your chart. But I feel like some of you, like I said, you're the jack of all trades. You may not have found that one thing though, like that one thing that you can really take off with. And I think it's because some of you are not meant to take off with just one thing. Like you have just so many skills, and you've possibly had a bunch of people who maybe put you in a box, and they try to tell you like, oh, you know, you can only do one thing in life. Like you're only supposed to have one career for the rest of your life. You know, you go to school, you get your job, and you work that job until you're 65, you know, 70, and then you retire, and that's that. But that's not the life for you. That is not the life for you. With the Knight of Wands, he does not do tradition, okay? He is not a traditional person. So this is definitely an energy of, you know, being multifaceted is what I'm seeing. Like somebody who's multifaceted and can do a lot of different things and do a lot of different things really well, right? Like it's one thing to have one skill and, you know, have other little things that you're good at here and there, but like you're good at a lot of different things, group 3. And that's because you have so much passion. Like, you know, you really immerse yourself. I'm picking up the energy of a Sag. I really am, because Saggies can be like that. They're very much the type of people that they have a lot of different interests. Geminis too. So you might have a Gemini placement. But I'm seeing somebody who has a lot of different passions and a lot of different interests. And they're really good at like all of these different passions and all of these different interests. So you're just very skilled and talented in general. And like I said, I think you've had people try to put you in a box and tell you that you can only do one of these things, or that you know, you can't succeed with them all. You got to pick one, you know, or something like that. But fuck them, honestly. Like you can do whatever the hell you want, group 3. Like seriously, I think some of you are just so powerful, and there might be people who see that power and they might kind of, not to say that they're intentionally trying to hold you back or anything, but they might be intimidated and they kind of like say these things like, because, you know, they're in a box themselves. Oftentimes when people put us into boxes, it's because they themselves are stuck in a box and they, you know, can't see the bigger picture. But you're very much a big picture type of person, and you're very much like, you know, you see more than meets the eye. You see more than like just the standard, right? And that's why you're going to find success very quickly, honestly, with that Knight of Wands and the Wheel of Fortune. I almost feel like something's about to change for you guys. Look at this. You have expect powerful change. Some of you are feeling something. Look at this, the way that the rays are kind of shining through this new moon or this eclipse that's happening. It's kind of like some of you sense something is coming. I'm almost hearing somebody's big break. That's what this feels like. You might be an actor, you might be a singer, you might be a dancer, you might do like entertainment, because that's what this feels like. You might be involved in like circuit, like the circus or something. Like I'm seeing somebody who's into performance arts. Or like movie making, and you might not even be an actor. Like this might be somebody who's, I mean, goddamn, group 3, like you might be the actor, you might be the producer, you might be, you know, the script writer. It's like you do everything, you do it all. If you're a singer, you know, you might make your own music, you might play an instrument, you might make beats, you might sing as well. You know what I mean? It's just like you can do it all. You're a do it all kind of machine. And I'm seeing somebody who, especially if you're involved in like performance art, or if you're involved in some kind of skill that involves you to put yourself out there, or like you have to kind of perform, essentially. You have to perform in some way, shape, or form, right? Like in a way, me making these tarot readings, so you could be like a YouTuber, right? Like me making these tarot readings could technically be a performance. So some of you may have like a TikTok, you might have a YouTube channel, you know, you might do something on Instagram, on Facebook, whatever. You might be receiving a big break in relation to whatever this is, because that's what the expect powerful change is here to say. It's like you feel something coming, because I'm hearing that song by The Weeknd, I feel it coming, I feel it coming, babe. Like that song, that's kind of what I'm visualizing here. It's like there's something that's coming. There's powerful change that's coming because you've been investing time and effort into a skill, into this particular skill that you're absolutely killer. Like you are absolutely killer with whatever this is, with whatever these things are, because like I said, there's multiple things that you're good at here. And I almost kind of see where maybe there are other people who overlook your work or something like that. I'm hearing under review, like something is under review. So this resonates in the sense of like someone who makes movies. Like you might have a movie that's coming out, or you might have a book or something, and it might be under review by somebody. They might send it to, you know, somebody who's very influential. But I'm just hearing an energy of like somebody's big break is about to come. Somebody's big break is about to come. If you're involved in performance, or you're involved in like being an influencer, or you're just like involved in the public eye in some way, shape, or form, or you're like a performer, I do feel a big break coming for you. Because there's the energy of somebody who is a performer. And you may not even have anything set up, right? Like this might even be something that you're still just thinking about with the Four of Cups. Like you might be thinking about making a YouTube channel, or you might be thinking about going and taking acting classes, or you might be thinking about going and making a song. You know what I mean? There's these things that like you're thinking about doing, but you may not have invested time and energy into making it happen. With the Seven of Coins, this is somebody who continues to try and perfect something. So, you know, you might be taking classes for acting, but you've never actually been in a film. Or you might be taking classes for singing, but you've never actually sang or performed on stage. You know what I mean? It's that kind of energy. Your big break is coming. That first song is coming. That first movie is coming. That first performance is coming. That's what this expect powerful change is. It's the energy of somebody who's been thinking about doing something, or they've been kind of learning how to do something, but they haven't necessarily maybe taken initiative to make this happen. Or maybe you have, and you know, you're getting your big break. Regardless, there's an energy of something changing. You're getting some kind of big break here. And I think it's because, like I said, you do this from a place of passion, from a place of love, especially with the Page of Cups. If you can hear my stomach growling, I apologize. I read cards on an empty stomach because it connects me to source. So, you know, you've heard of shamans and all of that shit. Like they fast before they, you know, they do their thing. So, you know, you can learn from them. Anyway, so as I was saying, there's an energy here of like, you might have a friend, like a good friend of yours who has some connections. Because I'm hearing like in the loop. Like you might put out some kind of content or put out some kind of work, and you just happen to have a good friend who has connections, or a friend who loves your work or something like that. A friend who loves what you do. And they might show this work or show you to someone who can help make big changes in this particular skill. So, you know, this might be somebody who says, wow, like I'm a really great dancer naturally. I'd love to take classes. And then you just start chatting it up with an old friend, right? Like from maybe elementary school, you just happen to reconnect with them on Facebook or some bullshit. And then, you know, you're just kind of chatting it up, talking about life. And they just say, oh, by the way, I happen to know like one of the best dance teachers in our city or in the area, you know what I mean? Or something like that. There's just an energy of connections, like having the connections that are going to help you succeed with this particular skill of being a performer, or with this particular skill of putting yourself out there and doing things non-traditionally, right? Like you might not even be a performer, especially if you yourself, like, you know, you're skilled in a lot of things, but not necessarily the performance arts themselves. Like you might just be somebody who's very eccentric. Like you might just be somebody who's non-traditional. You might be kind of weird and kind of out there. And I say out there, like not in a bad way, but you're just different and you take pride in your differences. You know what I mean? You might be a humanitarian. You might have like a great idea, like an inventor. I'm seeing somebody who, it's very Aquarian, right? Especially with the Wheel of Fortune. You know, you might be somebody who has some kind of crazy idea that could potentially be the next big thing, you know, next year or something like that. And you just happen to have, you meet somebody who brings you into connection with someone that can make this dream happen. So there's an energy of the skill being your ability to make connections as well, especially with this love card. Like people love you. I mean, God, group 3, like your energy is just so exuberant and it draws people in. And I almost even feel like your personality and your way of being, you don't even have to do anything or say anything, like just your energy and the way that you present yourself and the way that, you know, the vibe that you give off when you're around people makes them want to be more like you, or like they want to change themselves and they want to be like, damn, like I want to be like group 3. Like group 3 is so cool, you know what I mean? You're super cool. That's a skill of yours as well, is you're super cool. Because I would say, honestly, like being cool is a skill. Like it takes skill to be cool. You know, you got to just own who you are. And there are people who lack coolness because, and it's not because they're uncool, but it's because they're afraid to unapologetically be themselves, right? Because I think that's what makes somebody cool. The ability to be themselves unapologetically and not give a fuck about what other people are saying. And that's you, right? That's the Knight of Wands. Like very much dancing to the beat of your own damn drum, okay? And you might literally be a dancer. You know, you might literally be a dancer. So I see the energy of somebody who is just a very big personality and attracts a lot of attention, and you're going to be attracting the attention of somebody because of your skill to connect with others. That's one of your skills that is going to bring you a lot of success, is your ability to connect with others and your ability to influence others, because you're so personable with that Page of Cups energy. It's like you're cool, but you're not intimidating. Like you're not like a cocky asshole or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like you're actually genuinely cool and down to earth. And like when people come up and talk to you, like you don't try to outshine them or anything like that. Like you just are. You're just you, and you're just cool because of that. You know what I mean? So it's like your skill is just being you. Honestly, guys, like your skill is just being you and just owning your unique personality and profiting off of that. I really think that some of you are going to see some serious success if you haven't already. You got this Wheel of Fortune here, guys. If you've been putting work into something, like if you've been taking classes, or if you've been putting work into something, like you've been maybe building your Instagram, building your TikTok, you know, you've been building your YouTube channel or something like that, it feels like there's an energy of a quick change that happens with the Knight of Wands. It's like somebody's coming in to connect you with someone else who can help you succeed. Because I see the energy of a connection happening that's going to bring you success. There's a very prominent connection. Like you might just happen to run into somebody and, you know, come into cahoots with somebody who is very, very, very influential in the exact field that you want to go into. And it's because of that skill of you being able to put yourself out there. And like I said, even if you're not a performer in the sense that you're not involved in performance art, that is a skill that you have. You're just a natural performer. Like, you know, you know how to make people, you know how to entertain people, even when you're not trying to. You know what I mean? With the Page of Cups and the Knight of Wands. Like, you're very much a performer, even if you don't try to be. You're just a good time, you know? You're just a character. Let's just say that. You're just a character either way. So even when you're not trying to put on a show, like you're putting on a show in people's lives, trust me, like they remember you and they think about you and they're like, damn, group 3 was so cool. Like, I wish I could be more like them or something like that. You know what I mean? You really do. What's the word? I don't want to say resonate, because that's not what I'm thinking of. It's like people really hold on to your energy. Like impact, that's the energy, that's the word I'm looking for. You impact people. Even just small encounters, like you impact people because of your personality. Your personality is the skill. Your ability to own who you are and just be you and continue to be this bubbly, kind, down to earth, badass. Honestly, you're a fucking badass, group 3. Like, I just want you to know. I really need you to know. And you know, you don't need me to tell you. You don't need me to tell you. Look at this. Because the Knight of Wands, he knows he's a badass. But, you know, you don't need to flaunt it either. And that's why you're so damn cool. Because you don't need to flaunt it, and you don't try to flaunt it. You know what I mean? The skill is you being a performer and you being able to impact people even when you're not trying. You being able to entertain people and put on a show for people. So even if, like I said, even if you have never even considered going into the entertainment industry, or like that's just, you've always kind of been like, oh, well, that's not really my thing. Like, I would say it is your thing, honestly. And you really should consider giving it a try if it resonates. Like, you know, because I'm seeing where somebody at one point with that 4 of Cups is like, no, like, you know, dancing isn't really my thing, or like entertainment's not really my thing. But you'll see, like, give it like fucking 2 years down the line, like you might be in that same spot that you said you would have never been in. You know what I mean? I'm seeing somebody who specifically says like, oh, I would never be an actor. And then like 2 years later, you know, you're starring in a massive movie role or something like that. You know what I mean? It's interesting how things come full circle. So never say never, guys. Like if there's, especially for those of you who, you know, you have this big personality, but you've never even considered performance art, I would say that you will find a lot of success if you just allowed yourself to try it. Just try new things. Try new things. And I think that that's something you're open to with that Knight of Wands. But that is what I'm seeing here, group 3. If you'd like to book a personal reading, go ahead and click the link down below in the description box. It'll take you to my website and you can book there. Feel free to let me know in the comments how this reading resonated with you and what group you were, because I would love to know. Share this reading with anybody that you feel may resonate, and leave a like if this reading resonated with you. Take care and have a beautiful rest of your day, group 3. Bye-bye.